Hey, Chem 1010 folks. It is week 7. So here we are on the home page. You're going to see a note here about the week 7 video that you're watching. It's not there yet because I'm still making the video. If I go to course content and I pull up our printable course schedule, because that's the way I like to look at it, I am making this on Sunday. Hopefully you guys are finished with chapter 3 or wrapping it up. And in the next couple of days, you're going to work on experiment 3 and the reflection. Remember, I mentioned last week, I am actually accepting late reports through the following Sunday evening for each experiment and reflection paper, just because it usually takes me a couple days to get started grading on it, so that seems fair. You will have a late penalty, though. The big thing we have going on this week is our midterm exam is due by Friday. It does cover chapters 1, 2, and 3. You have spring break next week, so there won't be a video. Hopefully you're taking a little bit of a break. And then when we come back, we will be working on chapter 4. Chapter 4 is a little long, so we're giving you a week and a couple days to get through that. Please do make sure you get started on that after the break. Something I mentioned in an earlier video is the experiments do start coming 2 at a time, sometimes 3 at a time, and so you don't want to get behind. When you come back from spring break, be ready to hit the ground running. So this week, you're wrapping up experiment 3 in a reflection paper, and you have a midterm exam due. Let's go ahead and go to our content so we can see what's going on. All right, again, you're wrapping up this chapter 3. This is where you find the experiment for chapter 3 that you're finishing this week. It's a bonding experiment. As you draw these out, save it. You're answering questions in a quiz based on what you're drawing, but save your drawings. You're going to get a chance to check them later, and we need those answers to answer an experiment on bonding part 2 and the experiment for bonding part 3. And there is our reflection paper that is due this week. Again, pay attention to what the instructions are. All of these reflection papers have the emphasis on you. So make sure that you're not writing it like a research paper. You're doing some research, but then you're applying it to your personal situation. And so make sure that that is part of what you're doing in that paper. Go take a look at your grade for reflection paper 2 if you haven't yet, to make sure that you didn't lose points for something like that and don't lose points again for the same sorts of things. So do go take a look. Our midterm exam, again, is the big thing coming up. It is over chapters 1, 2, and 3. It does have an emphasis on chapter 3, but chapters 1 and 2 questions are there. It is 40 questions, 75 minutes. This is the same format as your first chapter exam. There is only one attempt. You will be able to see the questions and answers after the due date. We don't open those back up, but a good way to start studying is to go back to your first exam and look at your attempt now. You should be able to see your attempt, questions, and answers with the correct answers at this point. If you're having trouble seeing that, please shoot me an email or post on the discussion board. Let's make sure all the settings are right. Again, once you finish with the midterm exam, you're not going to be able to immediately see your answers and questions. It will come sometime after the due date. If you've got anything going on this week, please keep this due date in mind. It is due on March 1st at 11:59 p.m. Do not turn it in late. If something is coming up, you start communicating with me as soon as you can, but please don't miss it. Please don't miss it. Start early. Make sure you might want to set aside some time the day before the due date just to make sure. All right. These are big parts of your points. This is a big part of the grade in your class, and we can go to the syllabus and see, or actually we can go to the grade book and see. If you go to the grade book, this is a way you can see how much each counts. Your homework counts for 8%, the weight up here, and you'll actually have some points here because you've done some of the homework. The quizzes count for 8% of your final grade. The bonding and experiments together, that's 27%. This one is separated because you can't drop any of these because you do need part 1 for part 2. You need part 2 for part 3, so we're just not letting you drop any of these. You've got to get these done. The reflection papers count for 8% of your final grade. The chapter exams, the one that you took earlier and the next 2, count for 25% of your grade. The midterm counts for 10% of your grade, and the final exam counts for 15% of your grade. So you can see those percentages, and the chapter exams are a huge part of your grade, and the midterm exam is a huge part of your grade, and the final exam is a huge part. Midterm is not as huge. It's approximately equal to, it's a little bit more than a homework collectively, but it's one assignment for that grade. So please don't miss it. Please don't miss it. All right. So again, you're going to study for this by going back to your previous assignments, your quizzes, your homeworks, your first exam. Look at the questions and correct answers. And if you have any questions on any of those, please post on our discussion board. All right. Good luck. You got this. Please reach out to me if you have questions.